Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aidan Ross.
And my name's Dharma.
And the research we've been doing for the past quarter is an analysis on lithium pouch cells for energy storage. We've been working in Professor Ping Lu's lab under the guidance-ship of Emma Hopkins, our graduate mentor. And the objective of this research was to understand the functionality of pouch cells in energy storage studies for their implementation in future experiments.
So when we received this research idea, we did some background, and we found that developing renewable energy is necessary to combat increasing pollution, and especially batteries, as a result, are approaching a point of carbon neutrality. Pouch cells are a specific type of battery that is an essential part of energy storage research because of the inexpensive cost to manufacture, ability to test various parameters on a small scale, and the ease of replication. Our research is focused on using pouch cells to determine whether an electrolyte produces satisfactory cycling behavior. An electrolyte with good cycling behavior may be used to produce cheaper and more effective batteries, which is essential as lithium costs continue to skyrocket. Now on to our methodology.
Yeah, so now onto the methods. So how do we actually create a pouch cell? The first thing we did, we needed an anode and a cathode. So for our anode, we had NMC plated copper, and for our cathode, we had graphite plated aluminum. And as you can see in the picture on the top left of our methodology, we started with big sheets of these materials, and then using a machine, they were punched out to leave a little rectangle with a small tab on the top. And on that small tab on the top, we're hoping to get an electrical connection. So in order to gain that electrical connection, we're going to need to scrape off the NMC and graphite using just crude methods, like you can see in the picture. We're using a straw. And then from there, we need a polymer separator that needs to be layered in between each interface. And as you can see on the left in the middle picture, there's a machine that we use where you layer anode and cathode, and you kind of snake the separator in between them, the polymer separator. And then if you look down one picture, you can kind of see the finished pouch cell without a casing. And as I mentioned earlier, there are two electrical tabs, one that have all the anodes grouped together and one with all the cathode materials grouped together. And in the future, we'll be welding electrical tabs on the top for easier electrical connection to the cycling, so like the cycling machine. Now Dharma is going to talk about the casing material.
So the casing material is made out of aluminum, and with the shiny side facing up, you punch a little pouch that would fit the cell. The shiny side needs to face inside because there's a polymer that melts when heated, and this will create the seal. In order to facilitate easier current flow, we added tabs, as Aidan had explained, that would extend outside the cell while maintaining a vacuum. So we put the cell inside the casing, and we sealed all sides with the exception of a small hole. And we will later insert electrolyte into the small hole. One side is sealed further than all the other sides to form a gas valve. The electrolyte will react with the cell and create gas, which is why extra space is needed to disperse the force caused by the gas formation. And later on, we will go back in and cut off that gas valve. The cell was then taken to a glove box, and electrolyte was added into the pouch before being vacuumed and sealed. The electrolyte is very corrosive and will react to air, which is why this step takes place in the glove box to stop the oxidation of the electrolyte. And now Aidan will talk about the results.
Yeah, so our results, we used lithium hexafluorophosphate as our electrolyte, and in previous studies, it has been determined to be a good electrolyte to use in lithium pouch cells because of the slow metal deterioration and the reduced gas production. Now, as Dharma was talking about earlier, you don't want gas production in a battery because that's going to reduce the contact between the anode and cathode, which is then going to reduce the cell capacity. So as Dharma said earlier, again, you need to create a gas bag that will take all these gases upon the first cycle, and then you're going to have to cut them off and vacuum seal the pouch again so that there's more contact between the anode and cathode. And as you can see in the results section on the graph on the right, that is our data that we used. We created this cell and we cycled it around 85 times. And as you can see, the large orange line kind of on the right, that's our first cycle, and it has the most capacity. And as you increase the cycle number, the capacity decreases over time, as most batteries do. And as you can see on the left graph, which is data that is not ours from a paper, they also used lithium hexafluorophosphate, and their capacity stayed consistent and then dropped off quickly, most likely due to different parameters than we were using. But our goal was to understand the effects of an electrolyte on pouch cells, because our future work is hopefully going to be able to test different electrolytes and their effects. This research was mostly focused on learning how to create pouch cells, but our future research, hopefully we'll be able to test different electrolytes.
And in summary of our research, we discovered that pouch cells were created by encasing a cell composed of layered anode, cathode, and polymer separator with lithium hexafluorophosphate. The cycling behavior was recorded and compared with literature papers, and we found that lithium hexafluorophosphate was determined to be a good electrolyte because of its slow metal deterioration, low gas production, and its constant efficiency.
Yeah, so, and then also, as I mentioned earlier, the future steps that we have, we plan on testing different electrolytes, not just lithium hexafluorophosphate, and see how the different electrolytes affect cycling behavior, and to see if we can find electrolytes that don't involve lithium, because as Dharma mentioned earlier, the prices of lithium are skyrocketing due to its scarcity. And our long-term goal is to manipulate pouch cells for graduate research projects. Since we're undergraduates, we're mostly going to be creating pouch cells for the graduate students and postdoctorate students in our lab. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So thank you for coming to our poster presentation on an analysis of lithium pouch cells for energy storage. And we'll like to thank, obviously, the GEAR program, our graduate student, Emma Hopkins, who's been guiding us through this, and our PI, Ping Lu.